Many of us have heard that old saying, don't leave 15 minutes before the miracle happens. It's one of those phrases that gets repeated so often it can sound like a cliche, and it can land in a very tired and bone-weary kind of place in our psyches, even though I think there's a deep truth dwelling inside of that saying. Most of the important turning points in my life connect up with this. When I was younger, I struggled with drug addiction. For almost 3 years, I woke up every day trying to wrestle my life back from needing to feed my system with a drug that was simultaneously threatening to kill me while regulating my physiology back to something that resembled normal. I was well beyond chasing a feeling the drugs gave me. Instead, I had settled into a deep knowing that if I didn't stop, the legacy I'd be leaving was that I was going to die, leaving a young daughter in the midst of all that. Still, I couldn't stop. Nothing worked. Nothing. And then one day, I stopped. I didn't do anything different on that day. I started my day as I always did, as I had for the last 1,000 days or so, with the intention that this would be the day. And it stuck, inexplicably. And I didn't even really know that it was over at the time. Those early days and years were hard, but as I look back, something definitely had shifted. That was more than 30 years ago. And to this day, I can't explain. I can't explain why. The same thing happened with anxiety. When I was about 19, I was diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder, the kind where you wake up already inside of a panic attack and it stays with you all day. I tried everything: rolfing, meditation, breathing exercises, biofeedback, tapping, meditation, medication. At one point I was thinking I might need to be checked into a psych facility because I really just couldn't function day to day carrying that kind of load. And then again, somewhere along the way, it too disappeared. That was about 25 years ago. Again, no explanation. Gone. Poof. Gone. There are things in life that are way more mysterious than we can figure out. Things that I haven't been able to explain. And then there's moments when something opens. For centuries, people have used a word for that. It's called grace. When I'm talking about grace, I'm not talking about something that comes to us from outside, not something that we chase. It isn't something that we manufacture. And coupled with this aspect of grace is something else that I've noticed, the place where life seems to move most freely, and that's in conscious awareness. Awakened presence, that quiet place that's in us, that lives in the outlines of our body and all around us to infinity. A dimension I can step back and step into and notice. It isn't fixing, it isn't dredging, it isn't forcing, it's just aware. And sometimes I wonder if what people call grace is perhaps a very close kin to conscious awareness. Now you might ask, how on earth would someone even begin to touch something like that? Especially if you're in the middle of a life that feels impossible, when you can't fix situations, control what's happening. The whole train has flown off the tracks, no ability to make a clear choice. When the grief or the fear or the confusion feels astronomical. Sometimes the only thing that becomes available is a moment, 30 seconds of conscious awareness, dropping into that space, falling into it, stepping over what's felt like a threshold, not solving anything, not pushing anything away, just allowing all of it to be held in awareness. And strangely enough, that small moment can feel like gold appearing in the middle of it all. Because in that moment, something profound happens. One stops trying to overpower life, if even for a microsecond. And one begins to allow life to be held in awareness. And that, in its own way, is a kind of heroism. Maybe only thought of as belonging to gods, and maybe that's true, but touching the edges of it makes us part of the whole. So you decide the shift from pushing to allowing, to conscious awareness, to the aspect of grace. So if I had to share only one thing for the rest of my life, it would be this. Stay. Stay in the effort. Stay in conscious awareness. Don't leave 15 minutes before the miracle. You never know when life's about to move in ways that you can't explain. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to remain steady. Thanks for listening in today. I'll talk to you soon.